KSG Armory makes a high quality, affordable holster, whether outside the waistband, inside the waistband, or appendix carry. We are proud to have them in the holster consortium. Use coupon code ASP2020 at the link in the description for 10% off.
Hey folks, welcome back to Suck Less Saturday. I'm your host, Neil Widener. Thanks for joining me in this little process and project that I've been doing for the last several weeks. Those of you that have been along already know, but those of you that might not have been along, here's the deal. I am taking a class by a gentleman named Gabe White, probably one of the fastest, most accurate people from concealment that I know. Hold on. Yes, he is. Anyway, Gabe is a great guy. He puts on an amazing class, and he's doing a class in Phoenix that I took last year. I did okay in that class. I had a lot of fun. I learned a ton, but I want to suck less this year. I want to perform better. Perform better doesn't work with any of the days of the week. So that's why we're calling it Suck Less Saturday, right? But I asked Gabe for some input. He gave me some input. He said, here's what I want you to work on, Neil. These are the things that'll really help you perform better in the class. And if you focus on the process, you'll probably do better. So that's what we've been doing for the last few weeks. And I wanted to say thank you to the folks that came along and have done the work. Those of you that have struggled like I have in getting the work done because life happens and kids happen and grandkids happen and moving happens and all of the different things that we do that jumps in our way really causes some issues. So before I get into my dry fire this week, I really wanted to visit a little bit with you about consistency. And consistency is a challenge. It's a big challenge for me because I feel like we're getting pulled in different directions with our life. If you guys know us on a personal basis, you know I have a Cody, and Cody does not work with consistency. That's a big pull for us in our family, and I wouldn't have it any other way. But you know, we have to be very flexible with the things that we do. And I just want to say that to you. You know, if you fell off on this thing on week 2 or fell off on week 4 or never even got started, I'm not saying you have to go all the way back to week 1 and get started. Get started now. Jump back in. If you've missed a day, a 2, a week, a month, a year, I don't really care. You're not competing with me. You're not competing with anybody else on our channel. You're not competing with anybody else other than yourself. And the whole idea of Suck Less Saturday was for me to get better and compete against myself and to be better each week and stair-step that thing up to where I feel like I suck a whole lot less. And that's why I invited you guys to come along with me and do this. It isn't about competing with anybody but yourself. So hang in there. Do your thing. If you struggled a little bit and you dropped off, get back in it. Jump back on the horse. It's no big deal. You're not going to get any better by putting it off another 2 weeks and waiting till things are perfect. What we've got to do is we've got to start removing the excuses that we give ourselves, and I do it too. Probably more than you, but we give ourselves the excuses as, you know, I'm tired, I worked hard all day, I don't have time to dry fire, I don't have time to do this, those kind of things happen. We've got to start removing those excuses and get more consistent. And I'm talking to myself. Look, I'm looking right in the camera, I'm looking myself dead in the eye right now. I've got to be more consistent. I've got to work harder to be consistent. When I get down here and I do my dry fire, man, I work hard. I mean, if you can see my hands here, I've got scabs all over, my hands are all tore up from just dry firing, and it's been a challenge. But at the end of the day, I invite you to just jump back in. If you struggled a little bit, just jump back in, join us, have some fun. This isn't this isn't a serious thing. This is a fun thing to help us get better and have a little bit of a good time along the way. So I just want to say that, you know, perfection is really the enemy of the good, right? In a sense that if we strive for perfection, a lot of times we'll give ourselves more excuses to back out and not do the work because, well, we can't do it perfect, so I'm not going to do it. So please, just ignore the excuses, ignore the haters, ignore all those people out there that are giving us a hard time, that telling us we're not trying hard enough. There are machines out there. There are people that never miss. There are people that do this way better than I do. God bless you. I am so happy. You guys are the ones that really motivate me to do this. But at the end of the day, things get in the way sometimes, and I just really want to give us all permission to suck a little bit now and again. And then let's go do some work so we can suck less. So with all that said, yeah, that's my I'm going to get down off my soapbox now. How's that? All right. So with that said, this is the last week. If you're watching this when it debuts on Saturday, I am standing on the line, assuming all my travel worked out well. I should be standing on the line with Gabe White teaching me right now as you watch this. And this is what this has all been for. So I'm hoping that all of this pays off and it works. It's been an experiment. Next week, you'll get to see how I did, or probably join the Dry Fire group and you'll get to see how I did a little bit earlier. But I'm standing there right now doing this. So I'm just really pushing this week. I told you last week, this last Saturday, I want to double everything up. So I'm doing double the work. That might be why my hands are chewed up a little bit here, but I'm really focused on being completely honest with myself, seeing those sights, seeing everything the way that I need to see it, and owning the trigger. So as I do the 3 triggers, I'm owning that trigger. And man, I'm feeling it right in here in my arms. If you really focus in on those pinkies, boy, I get an ache right here. The ibuprofen has been flowing freely for the last few days because I'm an old man. Man, my arms don't work the way they used to. So again, I'm going to jump into my dry fire. I'll probably stop a little bit along the way here. I'm going to ask John to speed that up and give us some cool beats because that's what he does and it's fun. But I'm just going to do my work. So thanks for joining me. If you're the praying type, say a little prayer for Neil because Neil's got a lot of work to do and I really want to do better. The big thing is I don't want to put too much pressure on myself, but it's hard to not have a little bit of pressure when you've got a few thousand people watching you do this. So I'm going to do my best. I'm going to come to the line with the skills and ability that I possessed that day, and I'm going to give it my best. I'm not going to get inside my own head. I'm going to focus on the process. So for the next few days, that's all I'm doing is focused processed training, and here we go. I'm going to start out here. I got my barrel block in already. I got my mag block in there as well on my VP9 and my awesome SRO. This is the thing right here, I'm telling you. If you don't have one, get one. They're pretty awesome. I know John likes his Hollison, but this thing is my jam. Okay, so I'm going to start with 10 easy draws. Okay, there's 10. I saw my sight every time. I felt pretty good about that. I did move my hands around a little bit and change up there. So I'm going to do 10 more here at a 1-1 beep. So. Okay, that was a couple more than 10. I wanted to turn around and see the back there so I can watch this later and check my shoulders and that kind of thing. But that's the way that goes for me. So I'm going to go down to a .9 now. Things are going to get a little wobbly. So that's where we are. That's what we got to work on. So here we go. Okay, .9, let's go. Let's get crazy, shall we? All right, here we go. .7, can you see that? There we go. I know there's folks out there that do this easy. This is not easy for me. Here we go. All right, see that? I'll go back and break down the video here a little bit and see what it was that I did, but I did that a couple weeks ago and somebody made the comment of shouldn't you fight through that? The answer is yes and no. I don't care who you are or where you are in this, but my advice to folks is if you're fairly new to drawing and firing, pushing through that is not necessarily a great idea. If you've been doing it a while, like I have, or some of the folks that I hang around with, then yeah, pushing through and getting your shot and doing what you got to do, because on your worst day, this is going to happen. I totally get that. I totally buy into it. But if you're fairly new to this, we're here to get better. We're here to suck less. And so there's some things that we need to break down. So stopping right there and then breaking it down and understanding what happened. And my guess is that I have this tendency to do this sometimes, where what I really like is, if you can see that, get the finger and the thumb on this. And then as I come, I scoop with my other fingers up my rather large belly, and that gets the shirt out of the way. Sometimes if I go this way, what happens is the shirt folds, and then I get a piece of it and I get fouled up. So that's what just happened, and that happens at speed. That's why we dry fire. That's why I have a barrel block. That's why I'm not doing this live, and I don't recommend that anybody that jumps to this live right off the bat. If you're live and in a scenario where something like happens, and you're not in a gunfight for your life or for those of your loved ones, abort. There's no problem, there's no shame in it. Abort, assess, figure out what happened, and then move forward so that it doesn't happen again. If you're in a fight for your life, yeah, you got to push through. If you've got a few hundred hours of training, or even 10 or 12 hours of training, then fine, it's okay to push through. But don't be that guy that never dry fires, never works much, and sits there behind his computer and tells somebody else, hey, you got to fight through that, because you've got to fight through the process. And this is a process-based training thing. So fight through the process, understand, analyze, figure out what you did. This is the big thing for those of us that train a lot is, I can't focus on every little single thing. If I can't figure it out in about 5 seconds what happened, let it go, move on until it becomes a reoccurring thing. And for me, that has been a reoccurring thing to some degree. So I had to break it down. And really what it was I was doing this instead of this. You see how my fingers get stuck under there? That's all that is. All right, so I'm going to get one more at dot 7, because that's not the way to end that. There we go. The big thing there is also follow through, see your sight at the end after the gun has gone off, so that you can have follow-up shots. I know there's a lot of different portions to follow through, but when I talk about follow through, I'm talking about seeing that sight after the shot, so I can follow up with that. All right, so now I'm going to do the 3 triggers, starting at the wall. Okay, trigger 2, starting with my thumb or my finger in the trigger guard, but I'm pressing basically my fingernail against the front. Okay, trigger 3 is finger high and on register. Okay, sights meet trigger. So pin the trigger back, reset the gun at the beep, let go and shoot again. Okay, sights meet trigger 2 is we're changing target. So I'm going to go from the low to the high, basically like one of the drills that Gabe has. So. Now for you guys, I want you guys to all do about 20 of each one of those. I'm going to do that later off camera because it gets boring. And while I know John's beats are next level beats, they for sure are. And thank you for doing that, John. I know it's a little bit of a pain for him to do that, but I think it's cool and fun. Anyway, I just wanted everybody to see what I'm doing. Now I'm running through this all twice every day up until then, and it's coming close here because, like I said, I get on a plane tomorrow. I just want to be ready. I think the imposter syndrome sets in a little bit for all of us. And when you put this much video out, you're like, is this going to work out? But I'm confident in the process. I will see what the outcomes come, but I'm just going to focus on the process as I go. I'm going to have a lot of fun. I get to hang out with my best friend John and a whole bunch of other ASP crew. I get to see a good friend in Gabe, and I'll probably hopefully get to introduce him to you guys a little bit. We'll talk about this a little bit, maybe break it down so that for next year we can suck even less. But as we continue on, I just want you guys to just understand it's about consistency. If you've missed a day, just jump back in. You can't get back yesterday. You can't get back the bullet that you just shot. That hole is downrange and it's over. So move forward and let it go and get back in the game. So let's suck less this week. Like I said, as you're watching this, I'm standing on the line. I'm going to focus on the process, stay out of my own head. Life should be good. It's going to be fun regardless. And again, thank you guys for coming along. I will see you next week with a new version of Suck Less Saturday. Thanks a lot. We'll talk to you later.